Namaste, and what's up, guys? Welcome to Mystery Vault today. We're breaking down the 2008 fantasy adventure Inkheart. So, without wasting any time, let's jump right in. The story kicks off with a husband and wife named Mortimer and Risa. Trying to put their little daughter to sleep, Mortimer starts reading a story to his daughter to help her doze off as he reads further into the tale. He feels something strange. Suddenly, a red cloth comes flying from the sky and hangs on their window. It matches exactly the cloth described in the book. It feels like it came straight out of the pages 12 years later. We see Mortimer and his daughter Maggie driving in their car. Mortimer's behind the wheel, while Maggie is navigating with the map. They finally arrive at this old bookstore. Maggie asks, "Dad, will we find that book you've been searching for all this time right here?" Mortimer looks surprised and says, "Who told you I'm looking for a book?" Maggie has been noticing her dad's habits for ages. He keeps visiting bookstores, searches for something, and when he doesn't find it, sadness is all over his face anyway. For now, Mortimer brushes it off, saying there's nothing like that. Then he heads inside the shop. Meanwhile, Maggie starts wandering around the market outside. That's when the shop owner shows up. Mortimer is checking out books inside, when suddenly the books start whispering, talking to him. But he doesn't pay much attention, and he doesn't get scared at all. Actually, he's been searching for a book called Inkheart. Out there, a stranger approaches Maggie and starts talking to her. Maggie gets a bit nervous and tries to walk away, but the guy says, "This isn't the first time we're meeting, the first time you were really little." When Mortimer comes out of the shop, he spots the guy talking to Maggie. The man is calling Mortimer Silvertongue. Mortimer tells Maggie to wait in the car. This guy's name is Dustfinger. He says, "Let's walk and talk." Mortimer grabs him roughly and asks, "What do you want?" Dustfinger tells Mortimer to fix the mistake he made. 9 years ago, he says Capricorn knows where you live, and if you don't read the book, we'll be waiting for you there. Actually, Dustfinger wants Mortimer to read for him, but Mortimer says, "I've stopped reading aloud." Dustfinger says, "Send me back to the world you called me from." And he asks about the book. Mortimer says, "I don't even have that book anymore." Then Mortimer pushes him away and runs toward the van. On the way, he runs into Maggie, who had been quietly listening to their conversation. Maggie asks, "What's really going on here?" Mortimer doesn't tell her anything, just says, "I'm trying to protect you, and you'll have to stay with your aunt for a while." Maggie realizes her dad isn't going to spill anything soon. They both arrive at Eleanor's house, who's Maggie's great aunt. Eleanor opens the door, and they all sit down to chat during the conversation. Eleanor asks about Risa, then she tells Maggie, "Sweetie, no worries your mom left, but I'm here for you." Hearing this, Maggie gets angry and says, "My mom didn't leave me." She storms off when Mortimer follows her. Maggie asks, "Tell me, where is my mom?" Maggie believes the book her dad is searching for definitely has something to do with her mom back there. Mortimer is sitting reading a book when suddenly Dustfinger shows up. Dustfinger says, "When you refused to help me, I went to Capricorn." Before Mortimer can process that, they hear glass breaking from another room. Mortimer rushes that way. Eleanor runs to Maggie saying some guys are trying to break into the house when Mortimer reaches the library. Capricorn's men have trashed the entire place. Dustfinger warns one guy with his fiery hands. Remember, no one gets hurt. Mortimer says, "Leave my family alone," but the men grab Maggie, so Mortimer will read the book for them and send them back to their world. They burn all the books in Eleanor's library. Then they start taking everyone to a car. From the pile of burning books, Dustfinger picks up one that hasn't burned yet and tries to give it to Maggie, but Maggie angrily refuses it later in the car. When Mortimer regains consciousness, he sees they're being taken to some weird place. Eleanor and Maggie are in the car too. The car stops near an old building, and they take them all inside. This building has bizarre animals, unicorns, flying monkeys. Stuff that doesn't belong in this world. They lock the three in an empty room. Eleanor angrily asks, "How did these weird animals get here?" That's when Mortimer reveals the truth. All these animals came from a book a long time ago. When Mortimer was home with his wife and daughter, they got a new book. Mortimer started reading it. At first, nothing happened, but suddenly a man emerged from the book. It was none other than Capricorn, a robber by profession. Along with him came Basta, his knife-wielding buddy, and then Dustfinger, the fire juggler. They all came out because of Mortimer's words. And when they all came out, the book sucked. Risa inside, Capricorn attacked them, but Dustfinger somehow saved them when Mortimer looked for Risa. She was nowhere since that day Mortimer stopped reading books aloud. Maggie asks, "Can't you read her out of the book?" Mortimer says, yeah, I can bring her out, but now Meggie wonders if her mom could even survive all these years in that world, and it's confirmed she's inside the book before Mortimer can answer more. They take them to Capricorn. On the way to the palace, they see weird paintings. Meanwhile, in a room, Capricorn is waiting. Mortimer taunts him, saying, now you're living in a palace, what more do you want? Capricorn believes he feels way better in this world than his book world. Then Capricorn tells his reader to read the book. But the reader says you promised once Mortimer comes, I won't have to read anymore. Capricorn mocks him, saying, don't trust my words, that was a lie, come on, read. Now the reader starts reading the Rapunzel princess story. Suddenly a young woman runs in. Escaping Capricorn's men, words are written on her face, because she was only half read out. Actually, Darius stutters. That's why he can't bring things out properly from books. Now they bring another book for Mortimer to read. It's about treasure, and Capricorn wants the treasure brought out. Suddenly sand starts raining in the room, and as he reads, gold coins start falling. Capricorn and his men go crazy with joy, but suddenly a man comes out too. And in exchange, the book sucks one of Capricorn's men. Inside, Dustfinger reminds him that he wants to go home too. Mortimer says, I don't even know how to send someone back into the book. Capricorn doesn't want to go back because he likes this world better after a lot of arguing. Capricorn throws the Inkheart book into the fire. Dustfinger runs to save Cetus. But Capricorn's men stop him and snatch the burning book from his hands and burn it again. They send Mortimer and his family back to the same room. Dustfinger reaches a place where lots of women are working for Capricorn. One of them is Ressa. When Ressa sees Dustfinger's burned hands, she bandages them. She tells him that Inkheart came to her hands, but Capricorn burned it. Ressa can't speak because Darius read her out, but her voice stayed inside the book. Ressa gives Dustfinger some ice for his hands. On the other side, the man who came out with the gold coins is locked in the same room as Mortimer. He's telling himself, this is a dream, this is a dream. Seeing this, Meggie calms him and asks, what's your name? He says, my name is Farid. Next day, Dustfinger wakes up from a dream where his wife is calling him back. As he wakes, he sees Ressa removing his bandage. Dustfinger asks, how will I repay this favor? Ressa points to her chain like saying she wants freedom. Dustfinger asks, where will you go once free? Ressa shows him a piece of paper with sketches of Mortimer, and Meggie, surprised Dustfinger, asks, is this your family? Ressa nods and writes, asking, have you seen them? Dustfinger remembers when he came out. Ressa got sucked in, and Darius read her out later. That's why Mortimer can't bring his wife out of Inkheart, because she's already out. Then, Dustfinger promises, I'll definitely reunite you with your family. He goes out, sees the guards sleeping, sends his pet animal to fetch the key. Gwyn, Dustfinger's pet, brings the key to Ressa. Ressa unlocks her chains as Dustfinger reaches Mortimer's door. He hears Meggie saying, maybe there's another copy of Inkheart. Dustfinger goes in and asks Mortimer, can we make a deal if there's another copy of Inkheart? We'll find it together, then you can send me home and bring Ressa out. Dustfinger pulls out a book and tells Mortimer to read page 14. As soon as he reads it, a massive storm hits. All the guards panic. Ressa comes out too, but while running, she falls into a deep pit. Dustfinger, Mortimer, Farid, Eleanor, and Meggie escape while running. Dustfinger falls down and sees Ressa trapped in the pit. She asks for help, but Dustfinger doesn't help her and runs away with the others. They all get in a van and escape. The whole place gets destroyed by the storm. They drive to the city to meet the author of Inkheart. Dustfinger refuses to go with them because he doesn't want to know the future of his life. He wants to live it. Meggie asks, isn't that bad knowing the future? He says if you know everything in advance, what's the fun in living? Meggie and Mortimer reach the author's house. The author opens the door, thinking they're here for an autograph. But Meggie says we just escaped from Capricorn's clutches, but the author, Finoglio, doesn't believe them. He thinks it's a joke and smiles. He says, yeah, my characters are so amazing that people think they're real. Then the three go back to where they left Farid and Dustfinger. They see Dustfinger performing fire tricks. Surprised, the author says, this is exactly how I wrote him. Finoglio can't hold back and goes to talk to Dustfinger. But Mortimer stops him, saying Dustfinger is scared of him because he doesn't want to know his story's ending. Finoglio says he's scared because he dies in the end. Hearing this, poor Dustfinger gets depressed. Dude, if he had to die, he would no need to tell him, damn author. Finally, he asks Finoglio, how do I die? Finoglio says you die saving your pet Gwyn. Then Mortimer asks the author for a copy of Inkheart. The author takes them home. There's a storeroom full of books, but no Inkheart. The author says lately my books either burn or disappear, don't know what's happening. Mortimer immediately realizes Capricorn is behind it. But finally, they find a manuscript of Inkheart. Now, Dustfinger is desperate to go back. He tells Mortimer, hurry up, send me back. But Mortimer says, first, I'll bring my wife out. Dustfinger has no choice but to tell the truth. He says your wife is in this world. Darius already read her out. Angry Mortimer asks, where is she now? Dustfinger says you have to promise to send me back. Then he reveals she's right there. Where we escaped from in the author's car, they decide to go back, leaving Farid and Meggie with the author. That night at the author's house, Meggie suddenly hears whispering. It's the book that survived the fire. Meggie goes to it and starts reading. As soon as she reads, a dog named Toto comes out of the book and hides under the bed. The author knocks on her door. As Meggie opens, she learns Capricorn's goons have captured the author, and now the goons threaten Meggie to find out where Mortimer is. Then the author spots Toto and realizes Meggie can also bring characters out. He accidentally says it loud hearing this Capricorn, and his goons realize Meggie is also a silver tongue. Then they take Meggie with them. On the way, Mortimer asks Dustfinger is Risa. Okay, Dustfinger says she's fine, but can't speak. Suddenly, Dustfinger tells Mortimer to stop the car. He opens the trunk and finds Farid hiding there. Farid says that author didn't seem like a good guy. That's why I didn't want to stay soon. Mortimer, Farid, and Dustfinger reach near Capricorn's palace. The three sneak in from the back, climbing the roof. Then Mortimer slips and Capricorn's men spot him. Somehow, the three escape. Mortimer climbs up and reaches Risa's room. Finds all her stuff inside. He finds Risa's sketchbook with drawings of her family outside Farid. And Dustfinger are waiting for Mortimer. Meanwhile, Farid tells Dustfinger, I want to learn your fire magic. And after a lot of tries, he starts doing it decently. While they're standing there, one of Capricorn's men catches them. Farid escapes somehow, but they take Dustfinger inside to Capricorn. As he reaches Capricorn, he sees Risa trapped in a net. Risa pulls Dustfinger close, and he tells her your husband came to get you in this room. Capricorn is making Meggie read to bring out lots of things to test if she's really a silver tongue. The author tells Capricorn, you're exactly like I wrote you. Capricorn shares his plan. He'll bring out a dangerous character called the Shadow. Then the Shadow will stay in this world. Meggie says, I can't do that because you burned all copies of the book. But Capricorn had hidden the last copy in a box full of snakes. He takes it out, gives it to Meggie, and says, bring the Shadow into this world. Meggie refuses to read anything. Then Capricorn takes Meggie to the room where her mom is hanging in the net. Meggie doesn't recognize her at first, but then calls Mom and runs toward her. Capricorn laughs, saying, if you don't want to read for me, fine, I'll just kill your mom. Meggie realizes she has no choice. Then they lock Meggie and Dustfinger in jail. Dustfinger in a separate cell while Meggie and the author together. Soon Dustfinger learns Meggie is also a silver tongue, and she can send him back. Meanwhile, the author is trying to write something. Meggie suggests, why don't you write that the Shadow kills Capricorn? Then Basta comes with food for Meggie. He says Capricorn wants you well prepared for tomorrow. That the author asks Basta, we're talking about ghost stories, want to listen. Hearing this, Basta gets terrified. Actually, the author knows he wrote him to be super scared of ghosts. Then Gwyn jumps on. Basta steals his bag and takes it to Dustfinger. Now Basta enters Dustfinger's cell to get his bag back. Then Dustfinger suddenly starts telling ghost stories, saying, the skeletons here will come alive and kill you. Hearing all this, Basta freaks out, taking advantage. Dustfinger locks Basta in the cell and gets out himself. Dustfinger tries to open Meggie in the author's cell but fails. He tries using his firepower too, but no luck defeated. He leaves Meggie and the author there. The author tries to stop him, but he doesn't. Dustfinger gets out but feels really bad leaving Meggie and the author. Now he decides to go back in to get them. But then Capricorn's men come that way. Eleanor has also reached Capricorn's area there. Dustfinger hides, seeing the men, but Mortimer and Farid pull him in. Farid happily hugs him. Dustfinger tells Mortimer about Meggie and the author, and that Capricorn is going to bring the Shadow, using Meggie because his daughter is also a silver tongue. Like him, in the cell, the author is writing stories to lure bad characters from Inkheart. Then Capricorn's men come to take Meggie. Meanwhile, Mortimer, Dustfinger, and Farid are planning to rescue Meggie. and Ressa Mortimer tells Dustfinger, use your fire to distract everyone. Then the three decide to disguise as Capricorn's men and enter. They dress Meggie in a white gown and take her to a special place where she'll read the story aloud to everyone there. She sees Risa and the author locked in cages. Capricorn announces that after many years, he'll meet his people again. Meanwhile, Mortimer, Farid, and Dustfinger sneak in and start taking out Capricorn's men. When Eleanor enters, she meets Darius. She tells him, if you want to get out of here, help me. Darius agrees as they give Meggie the book to read. She spots Mortimer, but stays calm, taking the chance the author gives a page to Toto so he can deliver it to Meggie. Mortimer shouts, telling Meggie to stop reading because the shadow has started coming. As soon as Toto gives Meggie the page from the author, she starts reading it. Then, suddenly, the shadow turns to attack Capricorn. Meanwhile, Dustfinger and Farid are setting the palace on fire. Eleanor arrives on a horse with all the animals, causing chaos everywhere. Mortimer tells Meggie to keep going so the story can change, but nothing is written further. So Mortimer hands her a pen and says, write the rest of the story yourself. Meggie turns Capricorn into a statue, and he slowly turns to sand. She sends the shadow back, and all the others who came out unwillingly. Dustfinger is watching all this, but he misses the chance to go back. He was a bit far. Farid says, Mortimer will definitely help you, but Dustfinger says now he got his wife back. Why would he help me? Suddenly, Risa's voice returns and the whole family reunites. Meggie sees the book has disappeared and the palace is collapsing. Everyone thinks to get out fast. Actually, Farid had secretly picked up the book and now gives it to Dustfinger. Farid says, we'll find a new reader to send it to us back. Dustfinger asks Farid, you like Meggie, right? Why are you coming with me? Farid says I have her photo. I'll be happy looking at that. The two talk and head toward the jungle. Then Mortimer runs after them. He tells Dustfinger, I came to send you back to your world. Soon, he starts reading the book, and Dustfinger goes back to his world. Risa and Meggie run after, but Dustfinger is already gone. Mortimer asks Farid, what will you do now? And they keep Gwyn with them, so Dustfinger doesn't die saving him. Meggie tells Farid, why don't you stay with us? He agrees, and now everyone lives happily ever after. If you love this mystery, hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications for more movie mysteries. See you in the next one.